Hello, Emily here from Create Your Future, and in today's video I'm going to talk to you all about how you're to create the self-concept to manifest everything and anything that you want instantly, instantaneously. Everything's already created, everything's already here, and how to align with that directly. It's just about direct alignment with your self-concept. Now, before I begin, I want to ingrain in your mind how simple this really can be. Doesn't mean it's quick, doesn't mean it's necessarily like the easiest thing you're ever going to do in your life, but I promise you it is simple and it can be instant, so it can be quick. But it doesn't mean that it's not going to be something that you have to pay attention to every single day, because it is, right? And so if you need something that's going to help you pay attention to it every single day, what I'm about to tell you, my link down below is for my course. And it is a step-by-step guide that's going to help you every single day align with the self-concept that you need in order to manifest everything and anything that you want in your life. I promise you, this is a secret to getting everything that you want instantaneously. This is the only secret you need. There is no magical formulas, no extra technique that you need. You need to slow down. You need to catch what you're telling yourself. And you need to sort out who you are saying that you are, because whoever you say you are and whatever you say happens with other people, everything in your reality, that is what you're going to get. Okay, so if you need help to slow down, follow the links below in the bio to my course. Grab it today. It's going to help you, and grab a one-to-one coaching session so we can also dive in deeply and really understand what you're telling yourself, so we can redirect these thoughts into a much more aligned state of being. And I promise you, it's going to help you manifest things like, okay. So lo and behold, let's get straight into the video, because I want to really talk about self-concept, 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 self-concept. And what do I mean by self-concept? So the way Neville Goddard really talks about this whole self-concept thing is the way you believe about yourself in terms of who you are and what you can have is what you're going to experience instantaneously. That's just what your reality is going to show you. Okay, so when I talk to you about self-concept, I want you to really understand that this is something that you are deciding every minute of every single day. So which means there is no future, there is no cause and effect. You are creating everything in every minute. So for example, if I say, oh, I'm going to drop this on the floor, I just dropped it on the floor. Okay, nothing happened. But if I said, okay, I'm going to drop this on the floor, and then my neighbors below me are going to be like really angry at me, and they're going to come upstairs, and then they're going to yell at me through the door, and then I'm going to feel really embarrassed and really ashamed, and then the neighbors opposite are going to come out and they're going to yell at me because I've been yelling at them, and then it's going to be this whole thing. Do you see how I've just created an entire situation just from me believing that this is going to make a noise and annoy somebody? You're doing that exact same thing in everything that you are creating in your reality. So if you take that scenario, I'll give you one more scenario. Imagine a skier on the mountain, and they're skiing down the mountain, and they're saying, oh my God, I don't want to hit a tree. I don't want to hit a tree. I don't want to hit a tree. What are they really going to do? First and foremost, in order to have this belief system that, oh, I need to avoid trees, you've already got to believe that you're not a good enough skier to get down the mountain safely. Okay, so lo and behold, you're going to hit a freaking tree, because that's what you're focusing on. You're focusing on the fact that you're a skier that's going to hit a tree. So do you ever get the saying which says, what you fear the most you will experience? So if you're in a relationship, or you're doing, say you're at a job and you're consistently thinking about, oh my gosh, I'm going to get fired, I'm going to get fired, how do I not get fired, blah, blah, blah. Subconsciously, if we don't stop that line of thought and realize that you are the one creating this scenario, you are the one creating the worst case scenarios in your mind, therefore you are going to find ways, your mind is going to find ways in your reality to experience what you are focusing on. Like I said, if I focus on the fact that me dropping my phone is going to annoy my neighbors, are going to come up and yell at me, then I'm going to feel really bad, and then someone else is going to yell at me. I'm going to create situations where I'm going to be yelled at by my neighbors. It may not be today by my phone dropping, it may not be tomorrow, but it's going to be at some point if I carry on that thought process for a long enough time. Hence why you get the phrase, you're living in your head, or you're making up stories, because you do. And then If you think it and tell it out loud for long enough and you see it happening in your reality, you see, told you it was true. Well, yes, it's going to be true because anything you say will become true. So this is where self-concept comes in, is understanding that you are the God of your reality. You are consciousness. You are everything. So you are deciding who you're going to be every single day. Get up in the morning. Who am I? 5 minutes from now, who am I? Right now, who do I want to be? This happened 5 minutes ago. Okay, no, this is not who I want to be. You have got to take it into your hands, your reality, and say, no, this is not who I'm going to be. I don't want to be the girl that's driving 3 hours to work every day. Then stop. Just stop. Stop doing it. I'm not going to get in the car anymore. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And what I'm not going to do is I repeat, I am not going to create situations as consequences to me stopping this action. Because a consequence, again, is just a belief of something that you were making up that could happen for it. You know what I mean? So, for example, say we're saying, oh yeah, I don't want to be the girl anymore who has to drive 3 hours in my car. So I'm going to quit my job. Don't make up the scenario that then you're going to have no money, because those two things aren't equal. Right? What if you said, okay, I'm no longer going to be this girl who has to drive 3 hours a day to my job in the city. I don't want to drive my car anymore. I don't want to live this life. So you just stop living the life. Done. I'm not going to be that girl anymore. And then, because you haven't made up a story that you're going to run out of money and your resourcefulness has just gone out the window as well, and you have nothing anymore. If you make up that story, that's a storyline you're going to be living out. Do you see what I'm saying? But if you didn't make up that story and you realize that money is like your cells, it's like your blood, it just rejuvenates itself, new opportunities would have to come and replace what you just let go of. Because you didn't make the self-concept of, I am hopeless, I am unresourceful, I am not able to live a different life, I am dependent on this job, I'm dependent on this car, I'm dependent on all these different things. Do you see how much a self-concept determines what you're going to experience in your reality? But if you said, money is like water, money is like the ocean, like the waves, it just comes in and goes out and it's always rejuvenating, you never question the next wave. What if you said, my money is like my blood, it just, as soon as I cut myself, or, when you give blood, you don't have to worry about it because your cells just renew themselves. So you just create more blood in your system. You know what I mean? Same with money. Money's the same way. But the minute you start to create problems around things, say, oh, I would never be able to make money. I can't make money this way. I don't have money this way. Do you see how you are making yourself into a character from your self-concept, your concept of this avatar that is you, into this version of yourself that has now living out this scenario? And this is why I gave the example of, the job where I said, I no longer want to be the version of myself that drives 3 hours to this job, that has to do this, that has to do that. So what we do is we close that chapter, we drop that character out of the story, and we become somebody new. And you will automatically, as soon as you decide, and as soon as you shift into that avatar, as soon as you shift into living from those beliefs, will have to live out that reality that is in placement with that self-concept, right? And if you are not persistent with it, if you do it, then you go back. This is where you have to catch yourself every single day on, who am I being? Are you strong enough on your decision making? Are you strong enough on your thought patterns? Are you strong enough in deciding that's who you're going to be? Because until you decide, this is who I am, I will no longer think this way. I will no longer make up these stories. I will no longer live on that side of the stick. I will no longer talk to myself in that way. This version of myself no longer beats myself up or self-criticizes. I no longer do this. I no longer do that. But what does she do? Tells a story of how great things are and how easy things things are and how much you love yourself. What does the version of you that you want to be allow to happen? How does she live her life? What kind of ease and flow is she in? What kind of car does she drive? What kind of job does she have, or no job? What kind of life is it that she lives? And once you start to eliminate the things that don't fit with it, and you say, this is who I am, it becomes easier and easier and easier to align yourself, because you realize it's more about stopping what you were doing so you can make room for the new things. One of my favorite Neville Goddard stories is the one about Barbados. And when his mentor said, don't come back to me until you are sure that you're in Barbados. And lo and behold, just by the simple practicing of holding an image in his mind of who he wanted to be and dropping every image and identity and attachment to where he was and who he had been, lo and behold, he found himself in Barbados. Didn't know how he was going to afford it, didn't know what was going to happen to get himself there. But what he did is just dropped the old identity and became somebody different. And you can do that too. It's as simple as deciding and just saying, I'm no longer identifying with where I am. I'm not going to get in that car. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to talk to myself in that way. I'm just done. I'm in Barbados. A bit like the skier on the slope, no longer is obsessed with hitting trees or whatever, just sees the slope, the skiing, the everything, and becomes an amazing skier the minute they drop the story about hitting a tree. Drop identification with who you were 5 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago, 1 minute ago, 1 hour ago, and just be obsessed with the new story. See it, visualize it, write it down. Be in Barbados. Your self-concept, the way you treat yourself, the way you talk to yourself, the way you see yourself, the way you visualize yourself, the way you interact with your current reality, the way you interact with yourself, your reactions to things matters. Your self-concept, the concept that you have about who you are and what you are experiencing on a day-to-day basis, is going to continue to create your reality until you stop. You stop, you take accountability for what you're doing, and you align with what it is that you actually want to experience, because your self-concept is everything. Conceptualize who you want to be and what you want to be, and allow it to be just that. Self-concept. So write down today, after you watch this video, who is it that I am being? What do I want, but who am I being? And are the two things aligned? If not, what can I drop in my self-concept right now that's going to help me align with where I want to be? What does this version of myself over here need from me today? And if you need help doing that, book a one-to-one session below. Get my course on how to change your life and change your stories, change your life. You know, it's that simple. So you got this. Change your self-concept, you will change your life. I can't wait to see you in sessions, and I will talk to you soon in the next video.